For which possible set of input data, what is the output produced by the system? This advantage includes offers combined benefits of black box and white box testing wherever possible. It is not suited for algorithm testing because only the generalized information will be available with black box testing. Black box testing, white box testing and grey box testing, all these are placed together now. Hello and warm welcome to one and all. It is Dr. Ravi Kumar YB, Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, First Grade College, MYSURU, the Temple of Excellence. In the previous session, I was discussing about the white box testing, black box testing. Now in today's session, we will discuss about the grey box testing. What is the importance of grey box testing in the development of any software product before it is going to be delivered to the end user, that is to the stakeholder? The importance of grey box testing can be explained in terms of only a limited information of that application is given to the user. That is called as a grey box. That means, and of course we know that only the EXEC format of a software application is given to him. That is, the executable format of an application is given to the testing team, where the testing team is going to consider the executable format of that, and he himself gives the input to the application, that is to the software application, in different possible combinations of input data. With all this, the grey box testing is a technique that is used to test an application having a limited knowledge of internal working of an application. That means he will not be having the complete detailed information of an application. Only the limited information of an application is well known to him. So that with that limited knowledge of an application, that is the working principle of that software, he moves ahead with the application testing. In software testing, the phrase "more you know, the better" carries a lot of weight while testing is in application. When testing with an application, the more you know about the testing, that is the test cases, as to how you can give input to the system and how the system going to respond to the output which is given by the user, all those things are going to be meant in case of software testing. Mastering the domain of a system always gives the tester an edge over someone with the limited domain knowledge. For example, if a person is very well familiar with Python programming language, then he is into the software testing, then obviously he will be familiar with all of the functionalities, what is the module and which module is going to perform which task, and all those details will be very much familiarly known to him. So with that information, he will be able to understand what exactly the system is doing and how the test applications, that means the test cases, can be performed on that application will be very well known to the person who is expertise in domain knowledge, instead of the person who is having a limited knowledge over the testing. Unlike black box testing, it is not like a black box testing. In which sense I will say that it is not like a black box testing? Let me tell you that. The tester only tests the application's user interface in grey box testing. The tester has access to design documents and the databases. That means he will be having access to only the graphical user interface. In addition to that, some of the design documents and database applications are given permission to the tester. But in case of this black box testing, let me tell you that in the next slide. But see here, having this knowledge, a tester can prepare a better test data and test scenarios while making a test plan. With this knowledge, he can prepare a test plan so that for which possible set of input data, what is the output produced by the system. All those details can be very well extracted based upon the response of a software application. So in this grey box testing, you have certain disadvantages. Let me talk about the disadvantages first. Since the access to source code is not available because only the executable format of an application is given to him, the ability to go over the code and test coverage is limited. because he will be given access to only the graphical user interface and few of the database part of a design process. Then, this advantage includes offers combined benefits of black box and white box testing wherever possible. In case of black box testing, we will be having the generalized information, that is the generalized software. It works for all possible set of input combinations. So in this way, it will be a combination of both black box and white box testing. Then gray box testers don't rely on the source code. Instead, they rely on interface definition and functional specifications. It does not depend on the internal source code which is developed by the developer. Instead, it relies completely on the functional specifications and interface related operations. The disadvantage of this is the tester can be redundant if the software design has already run a test case. That means repeated information, repeated test case is carried out on the software application with the form of gray box testing, because once the tester has already carried out the test with test plans, again he has to perform the test. That means it becomes a redundant testing operations. Based on the limited information available, a gray box tester can design excellent test scenario, especially around communication protocols and data type handling. That is the advantage of gray box testing. Testing every possible input stream is unrealistic because it would take an unreasonable amount of time. Therefore, many programming paths will go untested. For example, if there is any code which is not reachable at all, suppose in the source code, if the code is not at all reachable at all due to some conditions, then the program paths will go untested. That is the meaning of that. The test is done from the point of view of the user and not of the designer. The test is carried out based upon the user point of view. That means the tester is going to test the software application as if the user is using the software application. That's why he will be able to experience the end user experience in the gray box testing. That is the advantage and disadvantage. Then black box testing, white box testing and gray box testing, all these are placed together now. The internal workings of an application need not be known. In case of gray box testing, tester has limited knowledge of the internal application. In case of black box testing, there will not be any internal details given to him. In case of this, only limited knowledge of that is given. In case of white box testing, tester will be having the full knowledge of internal working of an application. See, there will be limited and there will be full knowledge of the internal working of an application. That means black, gray and white. Then also known as the closed box testing, because data driven testing or functional testing. Also known as the translucent testing, because it has limited access to the application, as the tester has limited knowledge of the insides of an application. If we move on to the white box testing, also known as the clear box testing, also called as structural testing or code-based testing, because we will be having the in-depth knowledge of that kind of testing with test plans. It is performed by end users and also by testers and developers. Performed by end users and also by testers and developers, that is common. It is normally done by the testers and developers. Please observe that black box and gray box are done by both testers as well as developers, because the interaction will be between the testing team as well as the development team. But if we move on to the white box testing, only there will be an interaction between testers and developers. There will not be any interaction between the end users, because it is not yet completed the delivery process. It is not yet completely developed. So during the time of development, it has to be an interaction between a developer as well as the testing team. That is why we say that it is normally between the tester and a developer in case of white box testing. Whereas in case of gray box and black box, both end user as well as developer and tester will be interacting among themselves to give a desired result as per the requirements of a stakeholder. Then we have testing is based on external expectations. How internal behavior of an application is unknown. Then in case of this, testing is done on the basis of eye-level database diagrams and data flow diagrams, similar to the OOMD, that is Object-Oriented Modeling and Design. Internal workings are fully known and the tester can design test data accordingly. Black box testing. It is exhaustive and the least time consuming. It is partly time consuming and exhaustive. It is most exhaustive and time consuming of testing because it will be having more number of test plans and test cases are to be carried out in case of white box testing. So it consumes more time on it. It is not suited for algorithm testing because only the generalized information will be available with black box testing and no internal information of that is given to the tester. So the algorithm testing is not at all given to the black box testing. Not suited for algorithm testing again with in case of gray box testing. In case of white box testing, it is suitable. It is suitable for algorithm testing because the algorithm needs to be transformed from algorithmic form to the coding form. That's why we require a suitable algorithm testing. This can only be done by the trial and error method. But in this case, data domains and internal boundaries can be tested if known. In case of this, data domain and internal boundaries can be better tested. Here it is known, better known. Once it is known, it can be tested here in case of this white box testing. So the section describes the different types of testing that may be used to test a software data during SDLC, software development life cycle. In comparison with manual testing includes testing a software manually without using any automated tool or any script. In this type, the tester takes over the role of an end user and tests of the software to identify any unexpected behavior or bug. In the previous session, I have discussed this. In case of manual testing, the tester who involves in testing the software will give certain possible set of input combinations of data so that he tests what is the possible outcome produced by the system. With that information, he will start preparing a document based upon the response received from the testing team, that is from the system. There are different stages for manual testing such as unit testing, which is done by the developer, integration testing, that is done by the testing team and development team, then system testing, which is again done by the developer and the testing team, and end user testing, which is done by stakeholder and the testing team. Manual testing. Tester uses test plans, test cases or test scenarios to test the software to ensure the completeness of testing. The manual testing also includes exploratory testing as testers explore the software to identify errors in it. That is the reason. Then moving on to the automated testing, we will be having certain set of tools or testing tools will be provided to them. That is, which is also known as test automation. When the tester writes a script and uses another software to test the product, that is called as an automation testing. The process involves automation of a manual process. That means whatever the testing which is carried out by the manual tester or the testing team which has carried out the testing manually, the same operations are done by the tools, that is software tools. That helps you to test used to rerun the test wherever that we have performed manually, quickly and repeatedly. If you see that the test script is written to it, then it is given to the test execution, then test automation. This is the first step, second step, then third step. So this is going to happen in case of automation testing. Then moving on to the functionality tests. Apart from regression test and testing, automation testing is also used to test the application from load, performance and stress point of view. As I have already told you that is regression testing, unit testing, acceptance testing, all these are different type of testing that is carried out. In addition to those kind of testing, the system is also tested with automated testing tools to check whether the performance of a system is good, even in terms of load, in times of stress, and all those things are carried out in case of this functionality testing. It increases the test coverage, improves the accuracy and saves time and money in comparison to manual testing because it is very quick. If we write a script and it is given to the system checks the bugs present in a program and reports it to the user. So it is less time consuming in comparison with manual testing. The following tools can be used for automation testing. HP Quick Test Professional is one of the important software testing tools. Then Selenium, IBM Rational Functional Tester, Skill Test. These are some of the important type of software automation testing tools. Software testing tools also includes Test Complete, Testing Anywhere, WinRunner, Load Runner, Visual Studio Test Professional, Wait, WATIR. All these are different type of automated testing tools which we use to test the system's performance in terms of load and stress. With this, I'm concluding this session. If you have any questions with respect to the topics I have covered in today's session, kindly come to the department. I will solve your doubts. Thank you very much. Thank you one and all, my dear students.